right now.
What do we have to do here?
Nothing. I'm going to take a shower. You sit there and have a drink. Water.
Don't drink. Can I stay on the bar?
No, you must come here now.
No.
Please.
No, I don't want to.
I'm not doing anything with you.
I
Now
know.
you're embarrassing me.
I'm sorry. I
No,
cannot.
come
No,
here.
yesterday was a kind of aggressive for
I
me.
know.
I need to know a person to
I
be
won't
touched.
do a thing.
I don't want.
Please, I swear I won't. Just sit with me. Don't embarrass me in the hotel. I'm here all the time.
I
Sit
know,
with me,
but I don't
promise.
want to.
Please sit there. Please. 1 minute.
No,
I
I
ask
can't.
you. Go to the bathroom.
Please, I don't want to do something I don't want
Go
to.
to the bathroom. Come here. Listen to me.
I want to go
I'm
downstairs.
not going to do anything. You'll never see me again after this. Okay? That's it. If you embarrass me in this hotel,
I'm not
stay.
embarrassing you. It's just that I don't feel comfortable.
I mean, don't have a fight with me in the
It's not
hallway.
nice.
Please, I'm not going to do anything. I swear, my children. Please come in. On everything. I'm a famous guy.
I'm feeling very uncomfortable right
Please
now.
come in now. And 1 minute. And if you want to leave, when the guy comes with my
Why
jacket, you can
yesterday
go.
you touched my breast?
Oh, please, I'm sorry. Just come on. I'm used to that.
But
Come on.
are you used to that?
Yes, come in. Here.
No, but I'm not used to
I
that.
won't do it again. Come on. Sit here. Sit here for a minute, please.
No, I don't want to.
If you do this now, you will embarrass me. I know. Fine. Never call me again. Okay? I'm sorry. I promise you I won't do anything.
I know, but yesterday was too
The
much
guy's
for
coming.
me.
I will never do another thing to you. 5 minutes. Don't ruin your friendship with me for 5 minutes.
I know, but it's kind of like, it's too much for me. I can't.
Please, you're making a big scene here.
No,
Please.
but I want to leave.
Okay, bye.
Yo!
Welcome back.
What up? What up?
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Welcome back. What's going on? Shout out to Mace. Yo, what's going on? Episode 7.
Millennials
Millennials.
versus everyone. podcast.
Everyone. Shout out to all the love we got so far from Romania. You know what I mean? Shout out to the UK again. You know, shout out to hold on.
Anywhere and everywhere. Let's not pull up the
Yeah.
demographics.
I'm
Right
over here
now.
being a real geek. showing
Yeah,
all the
man.
metrics.
Yeah.
But yeah, much love to you, man. You know,
Yes, thank you.
11K strong.
Right.
So what's today's topic, young blood?
Today, it's all we're talking about in the news right now. We're talking about, we started the conversation earlier with our rape culture episode, but man, it looks like we still haven't quite gotten the memo yet. We still need to check ourselves a little bit here more.
Right,
And so we
right,
have
right.
just story after story. We're probably not even going to get through it all. And so we're going to talk a bit about sexual harassment, sexual assault. And hopefully we all, learn a bit from this.
Yeah.
man.
So, we have major Hollywood stars, producers.
Let's not forget Bill O'Reilly first, right?
Oh, yeah.
Bill O'Reilly,
yeah.
Mr. Mad at God, Mr. Why did you make me diddle those intelligent, business professionals.
You know,
We just want it to work. Yeah.
the thing with Bill is that, he's got so much attention over the years, and I guess everybody just does what he says. I mean, that's the culture of Fox News. That's probably the culture for, what was that show he was on? Not New Edition. Was it New Edition he was on?
Maybe.
Uh,
That does make sense with, again, Roger Ailes, another high-up official with the Fox News family, the Fox News empire, going down for sexual assaults as well. Millions of dollars in settlements. And so you're seeing that play out again, where a powerful individual is kind of just abusing that for, and so, the list goes on and on. We got the Bill Cosbys and we got the Harvey Weinsteins,
Harvey Weinstein. Yes, that's who I forgot.
as I call it, man. Oh Lord, Hurricane Harvey. It's coming to a town near you.
and Storm.
Yeah, right.
I really feel for the sisters that had to,
Mr. Get in the van.
sisters had to deal with a guy that looks like a goblin. You know what I'm saying?
But seriously, I'm not sure if we even can play the clip, but if we should really talk about that clip. Did you hear where he's talking to the Italian actress?
Okay.
And the day before, he had just sexually harassed her. He grabbed her breast during a conversation. And so she went straight to the police department, and she did this, on the fly, sting operation. She went back to his place with a camera or, a microphone on her and was trying to get information out of him, trying to get him to talk. And his response was just like fucking terrifying. It was like he was just too cool for someone who's being accused of like rape. He was just like real calm about it. Just like, look, I understand. I'm used to this. Just get in the fucking van. There's a guy coming around. To clarify, he didn't say get in the van, but the tone was very much like getting the fucking, yeah, just like
getting that goddamn.
Not like, hey, look, even this wouldn't be okay, but even like being like, I was intoxicated, I wasn't really understanding what I was doing, I wasn't in control of myself. I'm so sorry that you interpreted the night that way. I thought the night was going a different way. But his response was just like, get in the van. Like, I'm here all the time. I'm important, And so, really, really, really scary kind of stuff going on there. But the funny thing is that, like, for us, it's easy for us to kind of pick, I guess, to kind of pick on and to be so frustrated with more right-leaning, these kind of figures, because we can go see the patriarch and, throw out all the buzzwords and the hyper-masculinity and all the toxic kind of stuff. Right, there's more. George H.W. Bush, the former president, being out of line. And on video evidence, right? So
I think we probably should we could play.
Yeah.
In the beginning. You probably already heard of it if you listen to the podcast. But it's like, what was his joke? David Copperfield, yeah. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
What type of creepy old
on camera. And she said that by the way, next to his wife. He's standing there right next to his wife doing photos. And so think of how comfortable he must be doing that type of stuff. Think about how long you have to be doing that type of stuff for your wife to see you grab a younger, more attractive woman's ass and just kind of be like, "Oh, George." Apparently, she rolled her eyes, and that's the extent that she was willing to
show her disapproval.
Right.
At least not in front of me, type of shit.
Right, which is
Here's the thing, and I know Bill O'Reilly got a little bit of heat. Well, today's Sunday.
Well, I mean, he did get thrown out on his ass.
Not Bill O'Reilly. Did I say Bill O'Reilly?
You did.
I meant to say Bill Maher. Bill Maher this Friday was talking about.
Does he have any
this
sexual
case.
harassment? I don't think I've heard him.
No, but check this out. So I'm watching the show on Friday, and I think somebody in the panel mentioned, okay, then is it somebody in the panel? I don't remember. But all in all, Bill was suggest that part of the reason why these gentlemen are doing these things is probably because they have shitty sexual experiences being that they're married. So it kind of feels as if like he was blaming it on the married wives.
Not kinda, absolutely. Yeah, so that's absolutely what you're doing.
The first thing, Joy Behar was a guest.
Oh no! So how did she take that?
So she was like, no, can we not like blame the wife? And there was another young woman as well.
Right.
I forgot her name as well. She said like, yeah, let's not blame the wives here.
Yeah.
That it's their fault because their husband.
But again, that kind of goes to the kind of rape culture conversation we were having earlier, where it's like kind of just seeing women as a sexual object. And so if you're not fulfilling your duty as a sexual object, then you're replaceable. Like I teach, and so one of my younger students, I have a younger student who, likes to be edgy. And by younger, like minor, but like old enough to not make the joke. But, politics came up, and, like whenever that happens, I always kind of either immediately quell the conversation, or I just kind of take a deep swallow,
Message!
Pause.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know. But
take a deep
you know what? I'm going to be very elevated about it, and I'm not even going to get flustered by that. I'm just going to keep moving. I'm going to keep walking through my story.
Are you gonna file a complaint 20 years later?
Yeah.
Ooh, that was bad.
Yeah, we're off to a bad.
All right, that's
bad start.
Rewind.
But yeah, so like the kid made one of those, hey, it's not Bill Clinton's fault. If only Hillary was doing her job, one of those jokes.
Oh,
and
shit.
Yeah, and it was pretty rough. But the best thing about it is like having like having a young female student there to counterbalance that energy and just kind of just put him like in his place with a glance was like awesome, because I felt like fuck, like as a male and especially as a teacher in this situation, it's my responsibility to be like, no, this is not how you should think, right? And so, but like to have her come like Hulk Hogan over the top rope and just shut the situation down for me, I was like, okay.
Oh, really?
There's hope.
Was a student.
Yes.
Damn,
other
so
student.
She woke.
Yeah, bro. She literally stood up like right then and there. It was like, say something else.
Damn.
Yo, that situation ended like right then. I was like, okay, so we're good.
Makes my
yeah, right. Shit. Cause shit, man. How do I
inspiring.
explain this shit? Right. That's another important aspect of it too. That I think that this is something that I said when I first heard the Harvey Weinstein thing come out, when the story first broke. The first thing I said is, this is great because the floodgates are going to open.
Right.
I said with the Bill Cosby thing and with all these other prominent figures coming out, you got to figure that at this point, if a world famous Hollywood executive is up for grabs, then anyone's up for grabs.
No pun intended.
Oh my God, yeah. Jesus Christ. Okay, I could have worded that better. I forgot I'm sitting next to like the world's first caveman and shit. Jesus Christ. Low-hanging fruit. You got a joke for that? You got a joke for low-hanging fruit?
No, continue.
Let's hear it.
Continue. I can't take this anymore. I'm being affected. I'm being affected by this nonsense. All right.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and so lost my goddamn train of thought dealing with you. But yeah, I think there's a lot of hope for the future with the way we deal with each other moving forward. But to be fair, and in the interest of moving forward, we have to call out our brothers when we fall short.
For real, man.
Even if we know them, we love them, and we think they're nice, and like, you know, all the memes and shit. Buckle up, you're not gonna like this if you haven't heard this. As Neil deGrasse Tyson accused of rape.
Ah, jeez, man.
I don't even, you know, this is rough, but at the same time, I think it's important to understand that it can come from anywhere and from anyone, and so making sure that we're all totally clear on the rules is so important. I think like a lot of people have this kind of nice guy kind of mystique around him, and you can I mean, what's his name? Ben Carson is the ultimate proof that you could be brilliant in one area and just a complete, just like not quite there.
Message.
And so I'm reading an article from Science 20. I believe it's probably supposed to be 2.0, but that's how it's written out. Haunts Farmer.
Shout out to you.
Yes,
Where's
and
Instagram, man.
I don't see it.
Social. All right, cool.
Yeah, and so Neil deGrasse Tyson, an astrophysicist, I and many other astrophysicists. So come on, that's way too many S's. Look up to has been accused of rape by, I can't pronounce that name, who was a student at UT Austin at the time that Neil deGrasse Tyson was a graduate student TAing her Astronomy 101. As if that wasn't awful or not. No. Jeez, that was a weird Freudian slip. If that wasn't an awful enough nut, no, Jesus Christ. Okay. Right. So she's been reporting about this for 30 years, and you know her cries for help and humanity has been met with silence. But I think it's interesting, again, tying it back, the Weinstein thing. I feel like once Hurricane Harvey blew over,
right,
and people decided to, like, you know, rebuild and start from scratch, I feel like we're rebuilding the society with new rules. And we're going to talk about this probably. A lot of these stories are stuff that's coming from the past. And so we don't know if these people are still engaging in these behaviors.
That's true.
But we do know that we are creating an environment where people feel comfortable to come out and be like, you know what, this is what happened to me and it's not okay. And, you know, there should be repercussions from that. There should be a fallout from that.
And here's a thing that I found interesting that you just mentioned. So if he was like a graduate student, right?
Yeah.
She was what, an undergrad?
Yes.
So it's that like, so it's pretty much that like high school senior dating a freshman vibe.
Yes, except when you get into the specifics of the story, apparently she talks about a pretty Bill Cosby-ish situation, yeah, where
A Pill Cosby?
yo,
No, there was a drink out in Philly. They called it they had a special called the Pill Cosby.
especially it being on Philly, that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah, I know.
'Cause
Right?
that's right. So
True story. Check your Googles.
Jesus Christ,
I know.
that's fucked up because Philly loves Bill, and so
Used
it's
to.
like that kind of sounds like endearing. Oh, let me get the old Pill Cosby. It's not threatening. Like it sounds like a fun, like fruity drink, and
They put actual like I want to say jelly beans.
jelly beans.
It could be jelly beans or something.
Oh,
like
it's a duplicate. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the world we're living in. And so and
The point that I was trying to say is that like I feel as if that because he felt that he had that type
there's
of
a
like,
power dynamic, though.
Yeah.
But that's what makes it rough because he's the assistant teacher.
Oh,
And
shit.
you know what I mean? So it's kind of not cool, especially when she describes in some of the specifics of it. Apparently, he handed her what she thought was a glass of water, but she felt weird immediately after drinking it. And so she thinks he might have spiked it with something. And so they had a relationship where they were like good buddies. She'd go over his apartment all the time and they'd study and work on stuff. She thought it was a completely platonic relationship. And it wasn't, and something kind of dark came from that.
So what is she doing? Did the article talk about where she is today? And
I know there is a statute of limitation, so I don't know if any legal action can come from this. But the court of public opinion
has already been
is another thing, And so we've seen a lot, people way less famous, people way less beloved, or rather way more beloved, go down for less. I mean, Bill O'Reilly, it took him like 10, 15 years to go down, but Bill O'Reilly went down. The face of Fox News went down.
That's a huge giant.
Yeah, that's all these big figures. These aren't nobodies.
But how is it that it's weird how most let's just say most men, right? Most people they aspire to have more, right? So because life is all about living, of course, but with the least amount of pain. So for some reason, how our system is currently set up, if you have those who has the gold, makes the rules. So if you have more money, then you have, you could extend and do more things. But it's weird how that these guys, you would imagine that, they're millionaires. However, they act very barbaric with their approach to trying to court a woman. Like you
power is power.
You don't try to, hey, this is who I am and this is who I look like. If Seal could get married,
Message.
Anybody could.
No, but the thing is, the funny thing is, I'm not sure if you heard the interview, but Seal knows what he was doing. Apparently, when Seal met Heidi Klum, he was wearing the shorts, and like he had the meat out on display.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, so she saw the meat on display and wanted to go to the barbecue. So she wanted to see what that shish kebab. That shish kebab do.
So pretty much. So if you're Harvey Weinstein,
he's not.
You're probably not gonna wear shorts.
He's not bringing those credentials.
And then you don't hit the gym.
Yeah, but
wow,
again,
that's horrible.
But I think that kind of goes right.
That's depressing.
But that kind of goes well for them, right? But I think it's depressing. But it also kind of, in a fucked up way, kind of makes sense of this. Mm-hmm. So these are very often the people, and some of the other people we're talking about on this list, the Louis C.K.'s, like,
now that's a crazy motherfucker,
right? And so that's another one, right? So it's just like we're talking about people who are used to not having power and used to not having authority and used to not having people listen to them. And so when you are suddenly confronted in a situation where everyone you meet in a day suddenly thinks you're super important, and so I think that can be intoxicating. And I think that's where the ego kind of power shift comes from. And I'm glad you mentioned power, because I think in some sense, in some of these cases, it can often be about like a power dynamic playing out, and not necessarily just a gender dynamic, like they say in rape. That rape is oftentimes a power thing, you know, more so than like something in terms of just sexual gratification. So we have Andy Dick. Yay! More Andy Dick news. Yeah.
What a dick.
Spoiler alert, it's not great news. Like, every time I hear Andy Dick news, like, I want to hear, like,
Pause.
you know, not any dick, Andy Dick. Anytime I hear Andy Dick news, I'm just, you know. So I'm thinking about, like, because what was it? Surreal Life? Wasn't Andy Dick on one of those shows? Like one of those like VH1 like reality TV, like why are you watching this shows?
I'm sorry, now that you said Andy Dick, it's like every time you say Andy Dick, because there's like a D in his name. Right. So all I'm really thinking. Pause. Okay. Yeah. It's sad. Sorry, crew. This is not the episode to be fucking.
Yeah, strike 4 on this guy. But ball 7. All right. So look. So Andy Dick in West Virginia arrested on felony sex charges. Yeah. So this is written by Tina Moore of the New York Daily News. So here's the deal. Wacky comic Andy Dick, I don't know, he's wacky, was arrested in West Virginia after grabbing another man's crotch. So, okay, here's the thing. I had to, this is actually kind of pretty funny. I had to go back pretty far to find the story of, sexual assault happening the other way around. But I did it. I fucking found it in 2010.
So man on man.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So 2010, Dick, 44 at the time, was charged with 2 counts of felony abuse in the first degree after, quote, unexpectedly and without invitation, grabbing the man
without invitation? That's
yeah.
how it's worded?
Yeah, I'm reading it verbatim. Grabbing the man at Rum Runner's Bar, cop said. The victim, identified in a criminal complaint as Justin. I wouldn't give him my name.
Timberlake.
I'd make up some weird name. I'm Jonah Pasquale. That's my name. I don't want to be the guy who got like diddled by Andy Dick. That can't be who. Oh, you're the guy I didn't get abused by Andy Dick. I can't be that guy.
That's the one guy that you don't want to be on your wall.
At least. Yeah, I don't know. But I don't want him to be on my list. But the victim, right? So cops said the victim's girlfriend named Wendy witnessed the incident.
Whoa! This shit was
yeah.
That's so disrespectful.
That's so terrible.
I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh, what's wrong with Andy, man?
Yeah.
Was he drunk?
I don't know. So hold on.
Blame it on the alcohol.
Dick was in West Virginia performing at the Funny Bone on Friday. Blah blah blah. He was in custody. He was in custody the next day. The off-the-wall comic was already on probation of a 2008 arrest outside of a California restaurant where he yanked down a 17-year-old's tank top and bra.
Hello, you backwood hillbilly.
The comedian pleaded guilty to battery and drug possession charges in that arrest. Oh, fuck. And was sentenced to 3 years of probation and fined
3 years just probation
and fined $700.
Damn, can we? That's weird because that should be some form of jail time.
Wait, so you pulled down a 17-year-old's tank top and bra.
Right.
You plead guilty on battery and drug possession charges all in the same arrest, and you got 3 years of probation and got fined $700.
That doesn't add up.
$700.
I mean,
$700? Are you serious?
Was this West Virginia?
Like you or I could pay that fine.
Right.
No, this is in Cali.
Wow. So there must be a culture. There must be a culture thing within. No, I'm not saying in the state of California. I'm just saying that because he's a California native and they know who he is, that celebrity.
I think that celebrity thing is definitely a factor. I think that's definitely part of the reason why people are kind of willing to look the other way.
Because he's a comedian. He's known. He's created a character where he goes off key.
Right.
So people don't take him seriously because they think that that's part of his act, and it just got a little too far.
So, quick question.
He was caught in the very act.
Yeah, right. No, look. So you're tending bar to make ends meet, make a couple extra bucks on the weekend. Hey, not in this situation. This is, so you're trying to make ends meet, and Andy Dick is doing comedy that night, and he hits on you or whatever.
Right.
And Andy Dick tries to make his end meet with your end.
I'm sorry.
Grabs you around, takes the bull by the horn, right? And this is right in front of your.
This
your
me
date.
and my girlfriend.
Yeah, and her sister.
And her sister.
Right. What do you do?
What's up?
I'm in the studio with my sister and her girl.
That probably answers the question right there.
talking about?
How are you supposed to react to? And it's West Virginia at the Funny Bone.
I would react the way Terry Crews react.
Oh my God! There's another one right there, right? But
Terry Crews is a brave man because I mean, for a guy to be that buff and gets groped in front of his wife.
So Andy Dick walks up to you, looks you in the eyes, grabs your meat, walks away. You just go, man, and just go on about your day.
Unfortunately, you're. Damn it, man! This is because
Right?
it's similar.
Huh, that was weird. You
Hold on.
fucking just keep on moving and shit.
Here's the thing. I'm gonna be 100.
Uh-huh.
My heart would be like, nah, fuck that,
Right.
But then again, you're in a town that you're not familiar with. If you are familiar, you know how it looks.
That's tough.
Black
Yeah.
male
Right.
beating on like this vulnerable, skinny guy who could easily say the officer.
Yeah.
You see what happens when you tell a cop that you have a gun in your pocket and he still goes crazy.
Yeah.
So what's to happen if they say,
Officer, I thought he had a gun in his pocket.
right.
I was trying to keep it safe.
To be honest, if anybody who's familiar with Frances C. Welsing, she would always point out that they're part of the reason why there is just a huge attack on black male genitalia is because of the genetic annihilation of the white male species. And she said that's part of the reason why, being that the dark-skinned male, the black male, has a dominant gene because of dark skin, and then those who are white have recessive genes. So that's part of the reason why there's always been a huge attack at the male genitalia.
Message.
I think that too. I think my personal theory is that racism is really more of a conversation about like penis envy and just like feeling insecure, because I mean, like, I feel like people try to, every time I bring this up, people try to minimize this point.
Yeah.
But I think especially if you're a guy, you understand how important sexuality is to you, and how important having good, healthy self-image in that department is to you. And so, it's like how like in high school and stuff, like guys have those like kind of gross conversations where you talk about women and stuff, and like the whole like
Locker room
virgin
chat.
Yeah, right. I mean, if there ever was a time where people do speak like that, it's like when you're in high school before you have any actual real life experience in anything. You're just talking shit because you're like, I want to sound like an alpha, macho. But you know what the fuck you're talking about. You're just saying shit you think sounds tough and cool and manly, like tough guy shit.
You go home and watch Arnold every day after school.
Yeah, right. Oh, stoop kid. Stoop kid scared to get off a stoop. So it's funny. Right? So I mean,
Watch the real world.
yeah, right. So there's there's that whole dynamic. So I mean, I don't know.
It ties
tough.
in. It ties into that. It ties into that. That's why you have these guys like Louis C.K. who would trap women in their room.
Yeah.
And then he'll pull out his loaf.
Yeah.
Just because.
Take out the dinner roll.
Just because he has like this like.
Say bon appetit.
Just because he has.
Roll appetit.
That, my friend, was David. So, because they had like this insecurity about themselves, where they act that way because they know that they're not gonna get pulled in, or they're not gonna court. They don't know how to court, right? Or they're not. I mean, I don't know. It's really hard to, try to analyze somebody's mind when you for a fact, like, being a stand-up comedian, that's a crazy gig to begin with.
That's an interesting point that I think matters, like in terms of arts and stuff. Like being a creative person in general is like oftentimes like you have to be willing oftentimes to be okay with like weird and kind of dark thoughts, and sometimes you're you're a little bit more open and flexible in some ways. But at the same time, like people say, like for comedians and like things like Holocaust jokes and slavery jokes, them being a comedian, the argument is usually you kind of have to give them some leeway, and I agree with that. But it's like, just like with this, how much leeway, how much rope do we give you before you end up hanging yourself?
Message.
So I mean, I don't know that him being a comedian helps here, but here I got the report here.
Okay.
So I got Mercury News. Let's see. Let's make sure I credit Martha Ross.
Master.
Sexual misconduct allegations have been circling around beloved comedian Louis C.K. for several years, but have mostly stayed within the comedy world and among fans and media who follow it. But they exploded in the mainstream this week when one of CK's one-time female collaborators, and I think that part is important too, that it's a one-time female collaborator, told the Daily Beast that it's time CK addressed these allegations in a serious way and not brush them off as he'd done in the past. Quote, I think it's important to take care of that, to handle that, because it's serious to be assaulted, said Notaro. She stars in the new Amazon series One Mississippi. Louis C.K. is listed as executive producer, but Notaro still spoke up against him. She said it's serious to be harassed. It's serious. It's serious. It's serious. And so they kind of go. Okay. So, allegations against CK. I was trying to decide if I should skip ahead, but this is where it gets juicy. Rather salacious and pretty terrible. But the allegations against CK are both ugly as well as rather pathetic, and have been the subject of gossip site Blind Items, probably talking about like ONTD and shit like that, and were openly discussed by Roseanne Barr last summer. They involve claims the critically acclaimed sitcom Auteur, I don't know, gets female comics or writers into a room and asks or forces them to watch him masturbate. I love the idea of like asking. Man, I'm hungry. You want some lunch? Yeah, what are you thinking? I haven't had Indian in a while. Okay, that'd be cool. Yeah. Hey, you want to watch me jerk while we wait for the...
What? No. You want to go to a Jamaican restaurant? I heard they got some really good jerk chicken.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Yeah.
That's not good?
Yeah.
That was a good joke. No.
Yeah. You know what it is? I think it's just too visual. I don't want to imagine...
At least he didn't offer oatmeal.
Yeah, and so I've shit.
He's a very. I wasn't. I'll be honest. I'm not a big fan of Louis C.K.'s comedic performance. I'm more of Aries Spears.
Nah.
I think he's really funny. I think Dave Chappelle. I'm a big fan
Hannibal
of
Buress.
Hannibal Buress, Gerard Carmichael.
Yeah.
Those are the guys that I look up. These are my heroes. You know?
Right. But I think and it's interesting that you say that because I watched a lot of, I watched his show and I watched some of his specials and it felt like he was funny up until a certain point, but he does the George Costanza thing to a point where it's just like, this is your fourth comedy special in a row where you talk about how pathetic you are and how fat you are and you're gaining weight and you're a dad and you're awkward. I get it. But what's interesting is that in this newest season, there were two very interesting scenes for me that were kind of weird and telling on the way he thinks inside of his head. There's a scene where there's him and the female lead who's a co-star, who's a fellow parent. They're like in the same kind of parent, kind of like kind of like her kid is friends with like his daughter's kids, and so they're all parents. They all bump into each other and stuff. So he's been kind of like thirsting after her for like the whole show. It's season 5 at this point. And they do this weird on and off kind of thing. It's mostly off. He's just kind of chasing after her. And you cringe. There's a season finally, and there's a point in season 5 where they're having a good time. I believe I can't remember the specifics of everything before, but and then it's going fine. And then at some point, I think she has to leave, and then he doesn't want her to leave, so he's like standing in front of the door, and she's kind of like, okay, like okay, like excuse me, I had to go. So he kind of blocks her from leaving further. And then he kind of forces himself on her. He starts kissing her. She says no. She says no audibly, and you can hear it, and it's clear. She says no. She's reaching for the door. He's pulling her away. And it's this really, really rapey scene of someone frantically, physically trying to leave a man's apartment, and he's like pulling her and like not letting her and holding her down and kissing her and forcing. And so like even for me as a guy, I've never been in a situation anywhere near like that. I don't have any kind of biases, like against it or whatever. And just coming from a clean slate, I was really uncomfortable. And so like I can't even imagine for someone who has that kind of a context, or just any woman in general, because that's got to be something that's concerning for you, like a fucking doomsday scenario. Right. Hanging out with this guy, it goes great, and all of a sudden he just fucking flips, and you ain't going nowhere. Like that's some weird, scary shit, and it just kind of happened, just kind of unprovoked. It just kind of happens, just like for no reason, just for the sake of it happening. And then I guess to make up for it, the next episode he gets beat up by a woman at the bus stop who's like really aggressive and like in his face. She beats him up, and then that woman the next day ends up putting makeup on him, and then she anally rapes him with a dildo. That's like the next episode. Wow. It's a really weird. Yeah, season 5 made a left turn. Yeah, and then he's like, ow, 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 and you're just like, what the fuck? Yeah.
That's crazy. But it's hearing that plot. I worry so much for like I hate to come off as one of those guys, but like got a little girl now,
as a parent, I don't. Oh my god.
I just really start, let's just say as a caring human being.
If you get one of those bumper stickers, I'm keying your car. If you get one of those baby on board, oh, okay. It's like I was gonna fucking ram you on the turnpike, but now that I see you have a baby, there's a baby on board.
So I'm gonna be real cautious.
I'll drive safely now. I'll take the blindfold off, fucker. If I can read the bumper sticker, I'm driving safely. If I'm not driving safely, I can't even see the bumper sticker anyway. Yeah, but it's so illogical.
I know, but it's different. It's different shits and giggles. You have that so that cops don't fuck with you, I guess. But but here's the thing. it's like you want to teach your children how to have a sharp EQ. You want to know how to understand people's emotional intelligence, but when someone like a Louis C.K., who's also an actor, who has a very skill set of like hiding his true intentions, like how do you talk to your child and they tell you, oh my gosh, I was on this date with this guy and he had me stuck in a room and I didn't see it coming. I didn't know that he was going to be like this type of way. And then, it just messes with her perception, her understanding of like, males now, and that's very terrifying to know that you can't really protect not just if it's your daughter, but your niece or your cousin, even your mom.
I think an interesting solution or an interesting way forward in this is to address the way we look at power, right? Because I think one kind of consistent thread that I'm seeing through all of these things, whether it be a male abuser or a female abuser, it's funny, on the drive in to the car, song I heard before he cheats, that country song, I dug my like he'll think again before he cheats or whatever is the premise. And so if someone does something I don't like, that gives me the power, that gives me the right to bash his windows and to cut his shit up, to bleach all of his clothes. But in terms of power, like what I'm saying is, in American society, we have this idea that being might makes right. So if you're more, if the U.S. is more powerful than North Korea, then we can talk to them any kind of way we want. If big bank takes little bank. And so I think, in the same article, we're talking, she goes on to talk about Whedon, who directed Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, that's my favorite show.
Right. So this week, fan outrage was directed at Whedon, the creator of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and other empowered female characters. Over the weekend, his ex-wife, Kai Cole, penned a powerful essay that details the way she says that Whedon was a serial adulterer and lied and mistreated her during their 16 years of marriage. I would to say that I think whenever you kind of have these stories where like the angry ex-wife is kind of coming out of nowhere, I'm usually a little skeptical, because it's like, how do I know that it's really just not over something else? And so you could really only just go with, at least in my personal opinion, you can only go with them so far.
Right.
You can only really, it's like, I can assume you're right, but maybe you're just pissed off. I don't know you. What if you're like Kai Cole? I don't know her. What if she's a terrible person?
That's true.
What if she's an awesome person, right? But
Right,
I don't know, but I can't, But Cole goes on to say, but this sounds kind of believable. Cole said he couldn't. Cole said he told her he couldn't help but cheat on her, given that he had become a powerful filmmaker, and it was almost fated for him to have affairs with beautiful and needy young women. Cole said her main point in I'm destined to have beautiful and needy women.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This sounds like the Gerard Carmichael episode when he referenced how if you make X amount of money, you should be allowed to cheat.
Jeez. Well, like, that's fine in like a comedy sitcom.
Right. But the
you
idea,
say that shit like in real life and like mean it.
It seems like that's the direction he's going. That because he's a wealthy, that power dynamic, he's letting his wife know, like, look, I'm not going to be faithful.
Oh, but here we go. Cole said her main point in writing the essay was to show that her ex-husband wasn't the caring and concerned feminist and fellow nerd that he pretends to be. And I think, as a side note, I think it kind of brings up an interesting thing and I don't know if I'm right or wrong on this issue, but it's like with the Harvey Weinstein thing, again, to go back to that, with that case, one thing that I saw that was going around a lot was the narrative of like, let's get Ben Affleck on the phone. Let's get this celebrity on the phone. Let's get Ja Rule on the phone. Where's Ja? We got someone get Ja Rule on, And so it's like you got to figure out whose fault it is and which celebrity should have known better and which celebrity didn't, and then we kind of have to go through Twitter, and every celebrity has to make kind of obligatory statement about how horrible it is. And it's like I understand the core of what that is. You want to publicly denounce that type of behavior, but at the same time, forcing everyone to have a political opinion and forcing everyone to have the same political opinion as you is going to bring this about. This Whedon only pretended to be a feminist clearly because he said, hey, it's advantageous. All I have to do is share a couple of memes and memorize a couple of buzzwords and say things like problematic and, you know, say things like patriarchy, and I'm in there.
Right.
And so it's an interesting dynamic we have to kind of figure out and toe the line with. It's like, it's cool, everyone's excited to say that the celebrity that they like is woke. Everyone is excited to be like, oh, did you hear what Justin Bieber said about XYZ? Not to say that he is, but just to have like a famous person who also thinks what you think. The problem with that, again, is that motherfuckers lie.
Yeah.
So like, how easy is it to be like, hey, I'll say and do and think all the terrible shitty things I want. But all I have to, like, Weinstein's another one. He was oftentimes the first one there at all those women's marches and all the, you know, because literally it's easy to walk the walk.
Right.
Like, right? And you can walk the walk for charity, and you get a big, you know, picture taken with your fat Lord of the Rings ogre face. And you go out there looking like an orc, you know.
You think he had other intentions?
Which way to the Shire?
Clearly, he had other intentions. That's part of the reason.
Right,
why.
and so
he
like
was donating money.
Right,
and
so it's a great way to get heat off of your back, and then when people right or right, and so like when Jesus, and so but like when rumors circulate Hollywood, or while rumors are circulating about Hurricane Harvey, and he can step back and go, what are you talking about? I was just at the last rally. I donated X amount of money to this charity, and I'm helping get this movie set up. And so those things are all superficial things that you can kind of just do. But to get back to the PowerPoint, again, with Whedon felt as though I have more power than you, therefore I can do whatever I want to you. In a very fucked up way, I don't think he's wrong. And I think that that's what needs to change. We value nothing more than power in this society. Absolutely. Nothing is more important than power. Donald Trump is obviously the worst candidate for president, the worst president so far. And it's not an opinion thing. There are numbers and statistics and basic logic I can walk you through.
I would have never thought that anybody could beat out George Walker.
But here's what happened though. Look, once Donald Trump won, everyone kind of fell in line. And so you have MSNBC and Rachel Maddow and like a handful of people over there at Lawrence, you know, going after this guy, going after Trump almost nightly. But then the rest of the media can go, those liberals, they're just, you know, they're just pressed, they're triggered, they're snowflakes. And so that all gets nullified. People kind of fell in line for this president.
Yeah. True.
You know? And so people kind of fall in line to power. And so I guess in some ways, again, I think we need to address this power dynamic because again, if you look at it kind of clearly, the perspective he's coming from is the one that's most in line with what's going on in the country right now. So if we want a better society, then we have to change that. We have to stop, I think, walking towards a society where we value money less and value your net worth less. You know, like there are, you know, like, look, I have no problem with sports. The fact that there are athletes who make more than doctors and teachers, educators. You know what I mean? Like, this is the society that we live in. Right. So athletes are important in sports and fun, and there are good lessons to learn from being a part of a team. But really, like, A-Rod needs like hundreds of millions of dollars to play baseball. but teachers can't get like 30,000, 40,000 in some states.
It's like
It's our priorities, you know.
priorities are really messed up, and that's why I've never met a young man that's never thought that he would be an athlete. You know, nobody's saying
Right.
that. You know, everybody's always has this idea that I could be a professional, this, that, whatever. And then until you get to high school sports, when you realize, you know, I'm not going to be 6'6",
Right.
or even if you make it to college and you realize, damn, you know, I'm just going to be like, there's like a 3% chance that I even make it, and even have like a 5-year professional career.
And even if you do make it, you end up like Brooklyn Nine-Nine star Terry Crews.
Yeah.
To transition, good lord. So Terry Crews,
Former NFL player.
yes, former American Gladiator, T Money.
T Money in the house.
So our 90s babies out there who remember that. Yeah, man.
T-Money.
And so, you know, 6 foot whatever, massive wall of muscle, Terry Crews admits or kind of reveals that he was sexually assaulted by a Hollywood executive.
Think about the balls you must have
Yes.
to try.
And even in this climate, sorry to cut you off real quick. One quick point.
Yeah.
It just says a high-level Hollywood executive. Even in this climate, guys, he still won't say the name of the person. I just realized that. I just thought about that.
Message.
The article just says a high-level executive. It could be Bob Weinstein. It could be his fucking brother. We don't know who it is. All we know is that it's someone pretty high up, and I want to work again in the future. So it's going on to men too, but I can't say who to or when or whatever.
So we could assume that the people that are doing this are probably the folks that were pretty much, like you mentioned earlier, didn't get that much attention in high school. It's almost like one of those people who become cops because they were bullied, and now when they have power, now they're going overboard with it. So it's those, you know, it's the geeks, it's the guys in the drama class, or the guys who just stayed and did latchkey and had the chess club maybe, you know, they're the ones in power. There's Mike mentioned about this, about the rule of 10, right? The 10% of people.
Yeah, talented 10.
Talented 10, right?
Yeah.
And you're wondering, you know, if that system does exist with the education system, I feel this is the result of it, where you work hard just to support that 10 to become the future leaders of businesses, countries, you know what I'm saying? And then when they don't know, yeah, they're brilliant at retaining information and repeating it, because that's all test making is all about. But when it comes to like being, you know, your emotional intelligence, how you see people, how you view yourself and stuff like that, they probably failed in that department, and this is the result of it. You know, now their power, they're abusing their power. They're not trying, they don't know how to have one-on-one dialogue with people because they were just so centered on, you know, being part of that 10% and manifesting it through high school, college, and their careers. So it just shows that there's this huge distance when it comes to, like, you know, growth between, you know, adolescent to adulthood, and you're seeing it in the you know, unfortunately, mainly in the film biz. Yeah. And it's probably going on in all the industries, like, you know, tech. I could imagine this happening at tech. Healthcare, you know.
Yeah, it's actually great that you kind of mentioned that as well, because unfortunately it's again not even so much a gendered issue 100%, in the sense that it's not just happening in these kind of like sexual, or God, how to word it, like I guess conventional kind of sexual relations, you know, leaving aside the kind of consensual and non-consensual stuff. Yeah. Corey Feldman vows to expose the Hollywood pedophile ring. So Jesus Corey Feldman is someone who's been talking about this for many, many years. I've got a NBC News article from Yulia Talmazan. Former child star Corey Feldman has vowed to expose a ring of Hollywood pedophiles that he says has been tormenting young actors for days. Not just him. Who's the guy from Lord of the Rings? I forget his name in real life. No, fool. Those are two different people.
Oh, two different franchises, by the way.
Yeah, that's Dan Rad. That's Daniel Radcliffe. I forget the name of the guy. Who? Elijah Wood. Yes, thank you to the
Producer.
producer in the back helping us out. So I've got a
Message. Fact check.
Yeah, right. So I've got a quick question for the producer. You can help us out here with a question. So you're a young woman.
Message.
You are sitting. You're sitting at a bar, at a restaurant. You're with your man. He stands up. He's looking great. He's wearing the new suit. You guys both look and feel great.
Is it a Zuzu suit?
Yeah, right. and just out of the blue, a well-to-do executive comes up to your husband, shakes his hand. You're excited, and then you're thinking, okay, this could lead to something else. And then he shakes something else, and then he just like, according to Terry Crews, it says here, quote, he grinned like a jerk. At the pair's shocked response, they said. Yeah, apparently he just grabbed it, knew what he was doing, because apparently he grinned like a jerk. And then just... Apparently later on he apologized. But what's your reaction in that moment?
Welcome to being a woman. A day in the life.
So that's what you would say. You would say, good. Welcome to being a woman.
No.
I'm glad you were assaulted.
No, my official position is that nobody should be touched unwarranted. Keep your hands to yourself.
I didn't ask you for the official opinion. What is your reaction?
Then my reaction?
To seeing your man getting diddled at a...
right in front of you.
I think I would be shocked, honestly.
I would hope, yeah.
Just the balls to do that.
Yeah, just the balls, yeah.
But would you assume that, whoa, is this something that my husband does on the low?
No, not at all.
No part of you would wonder that.
No, because I would picture my husband being just as shocked as I was.
Right.
So what if your husband just allowed it and just walked off?
Because people handle things differently. He could feel embarrassed or humiliated, and he just got groped in front of his girl. So he could be embarrassed and think like what you guys are thinking right now. Does she think that, oh, I'm into this on the side and I'm not letting her know?
Yeah, so hold on. So Terry Crews says when he first revealed it, this whole thing with Harvey Weinstein is giving me PTSD. Why? Because this kind of thing happened to me. Right?
Yo, only thing I think about is him on the Friday After Next when he was
Tupac so gangster.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
When he was chasing with
That's a good point, because did they say when it happened? Did they specify when this happened, right? Because
is it a black high Hollywood exec?
Right, we don't know.
Was this Ice?
Because in that movie they hypersexualized him using his boxers the whole time.
Yeah.
So what if that's the guy who decided to do that?
You never know. Tyler Perry could be putting him in his next role.
That's very true.
Grease him up, oil him up.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, man.
You want to be in a commercial? Let me grab your balls.
Yeah, man. So
if it's after if it was around that time, it would explain why he was so successful with the Spice commercials.
Yeah, maybe they were the ones. Yeah, because everything he did was. Granted, his physique is always a part of his thing, but it was really about kind of just, him being kind of topless all the time. And it's not just him too, man. Kevin Sorbo, Hercules, Kevin Sorbo.
He can't read, right?
New York Daily News. I think I heard something like he has some type of eye condition or something. So
he can't see words.
Kevin Sorbo claims he was sexually assaulted by Gianni Versace. Kevin Sorbo has come forward with sexual assault allegations against the late Gianni Versace during an appearance on Adam Carolla's podcast on Tuesday.
That's dope. I like Adam Carolla.
Yeah. Well, this article's from October, from this last week actually. Adam Carolla, the Hercules, the legendary Journey star, claimed the fashion icon made inappropriate advances towards him at a dinner party. He alleged that while modeling in Italy in '84, he was approached by Versace to discuss runway opportunities. He wanted me because of my height, 6'3". He wanted me to do fashion with all these 6 foot tall women. Yes.
Asshole.
Yeah. And so at the dinner party, the relationship took a turn. Quote, all of a sudden, his hand goes up my leg. Sorbo said, dude, you know I'm straight. He allegedly asked for, what a bro. I feel like that's a pretty fair bro response.
Yeah, it's like, come on, bro.
Yeah,
I don't
like,
really fuck with dudes.
Like, don't make this like a homophobe thing. Like, it's not that. I kind of just don't want your hand up my ass right now. To which Versace replied, this is why I like you. You're not a girl man. You're a man's man. Which is, I mean, come on. Versace, Versace, yeah, right, reportedly replied, in life you must fuck everything. You must do the dog, and the cat, and the boy, and the girl.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So now he's promoting bestiality.
All types of craziness. So... yeah, so their relationship had a falling out,
and so did his career. Point. Ironically, because he didn't after Hercules. What else has he?
Yeah,
I
got 4 free. Yeah, I do think that it is a factor. I think I do think it played a role, but I'm pretty sure I remember hearing Kevin Sorbo had some type of like health shit, like some health shit went down.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
So my bad.
Yeah, so it's not just Terry Crews. It's really just the both. It's it's something that happens, and again, to kind of come back to this power conversation, I really think it has more to do with power and influence, like the fact that I'm kind of doing it because I can, and I'm kind of getting a rush on the fact that I can, and that you still haven't stopped me, And I think this next story here's another one, the perfect instance, right? The perfect case to kind of wrap that up. Terry Richardson, man. Terry Richardson, if you don't know him, he's the creepy old man hipster dude. He takes photographs of everyone. He's taken photographs with like former presidents to celebrities to models to everywhere. It has been an open, not so secret for like literally fucking decades that this guy's a low down creep. There was this one story, I think a former model came out and said how apparently for a photo shoot he took out the dinner roll and
sat on it.
Yeah, no. Apparently he pulled a CK and masturbated in front of her, but he took it a step worse and he finished like on her forehead, as far as the story goes. And then I don't know, maybe he took pictures of it. He's a photographer. I don't know, but
so she sat down and let that happen.
And yeah, that's my only problem with the story is I don't want to victim blame, but you waited.
I mean,
No. She's
Okay,
a young model, and this is a very powerful man in New York City at the top, the highest of his game, working for all of these fashion magazines and doing all these editorials. He even like worked with Obama. He worked with Beyonce, Lady Gaga, all the celebrities and the pop star. And you're a young girl. You're in this industry where they're already taking advantage of you and abusing you to begin with. And you have a man just asserting his power. And what are you going to do? Models have complained about him, but then the model agency stopped sending the models to him, but they would continue to send more models.
Yeah, I'm not talking about what he's doing. I'm talking about you as a human being in that room in the afternoon. So you are in there in that afternoon, and the official photo shoot is done. You get the work you need to get done. It's been a couple hours. You're exhausted. And he tells you to get on your knees. I got a surprise for you, or whatever. And he pulls out his dick, and you're like, "Oh, I wonder what the surprise is."
Think of what interning is like. You don't get to say so. You have to do everything.
I've
That is your
been
only
an
way
intern.
into the industry.
If my boss pulled his meat out and said, "Hold on," I'd be like, "Nah."
But what if your boss pulled out her breast?
What if your boss pulled
It depends
out,
on the breast. Yeah,
pulled at you?
pulled at me.
Lactated on your.
Again, it depends on the breast. No, but
That's terrible.
yeah.
That's a whole new.
Yeah, right. But like, what I'm saying is that
Titty whip.
I understand that it's not her fault, but I'm just saying, like, as a person. Okay, so is there any part of you that if you were in that room, would you wait? And if so, why?
I don't know, because it depends on the situation, and trauma affects people in different ways.
It doesn't have to be this particular situation. Let's say you start a new job and your boss is like, "Okay, great shift today. All right.
Don't you stack the plates?
Yeah, right. Get on your knees and close your eyes." And then you're just like
Close your eyes so
waiting.
you don't get pink eye
Right.
or clear eye.
The obvious
Yeah,
answer
right.
is to say no and have your self-respect and your dignity and just to get out of there. But when you're put into those situations and you have the power taking advantage towards you, he's the person who can make all of your dreams come true. You've been working so hard your whole life.
Right.
And he has the golden gate to all the opportunities that you wanted and you've been struggling so hard for.
Take it for the team kind of a thing. I don't know.
Like, he has
That's
literally
tough.
had models blacklisted. And
Yes.
so he has power over their careers. If these girls say no,
I think
then
I'd rather
everything
I think I'd
they've
get
ever
blacklisted.
worked for.
I understand that, but the thing is, like, when you're pretty and it's your job to be pretty, you can do like a lot of
Okay,
things.
being a model is being much more than being pretty. The models
It's being hungry.
models get put into situations when they're filming and they're taking photographs. It's outside, it's freezing. They're in bikinis. They're on the outside shooting for 8 hours a day in
Sure,
these
it's an art
positions, and they
form,
aren't
sure.
obviously. So modeling is harder than it is.
Right.
It's harder
Than it
than
looks.
people think it is.
Sure. I agree with that, you know.
I would just add to that a lot of these inspiring models, they just, if you're one that is trying to take the quick route to success, yes, you sit down and you take a load on the forehead. But if you trust in who you are, because I don't hear Tyra Banks taking loads on her forehead. I don't hear
But
about.
at the same time, maybe she did and just didn't
Says
feel like
anything.
coming forward. I'm not speculating that she did, but you know.
It just shows how much impatient we are as a society to be successful, and it hurts to hear that, you know, she experienced that and she allowed it to happen because she was, you know, hey, this is he's got the gold, he makes the rules, so let me settle down, because it just brings us right back to slavery. You know, you're
It's a power dynamic.
you're-
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
here you are as a male seeing your quote unquote wife being raped by the master, and you can't do nothing about it. 9 months later, she produces a child that looks nothing like you, but you have to raise that child as your own.
Right.
That's deep.
Right.
You
Or
know?
if not that, the kid was probably, you know, coming up in the slave master's house. And so you probably wouldn't even really have that much access to the
Right.
kids, because a lot of that slave master's kids would live up in the house.
Right.
So,
So
I
that
mean,
power
yeah.
is something, and it's sad that, you know, again, she had to sacrifice her forehead.
Yeah.
You know, and this guy. Here's the thing. I don't know. Everybody's got. I understand. I don't want to shame anybody's sexual appetite, but my God.
Yeah, man. I feel like as long as you're not hurting anyone, you're cool. You can't nut on your interns' foreheads, man. You have to explain this shit to people. That's a no-no.
I
Who's HR? Who's the HR in this bitch, man?
for real? Like, what's going on? They must hire some freelance HR people.
Yeah,
who are
right,
not in
dude.
the office. They're there like 2 times a week.
Jesus Christ.
But then you're not gonna
man.
say anything because, you know, hey, this is what he does. Boys will be boys. Girls will be girls.
Yeah, but recently, So earlier this week, it emerged that Condé Nast, which publishes high fashion magazines Vogue and Vanity Fair, would no longer publish fashion photographer Terry Richardson's work after fresh scrutiny of years of sexual assault and harassment allegations made against him. An email circulated amongst the media group reportedly said work already commissioned from the 15-year-old should be killed or substituted with other material. So yeah, they have footage of her of Terry when he worked with Lady Gaga, and he had her butt naked, like hand drawing, and like doing all types of crazy shit, like. So I mean, this guy's like a known like creeper freaker. Yeah, model Liskula Cohen told Girly Girl Army she walked off a fashion shoot because Mr. Richardson had made her feel like a prostitute. Quote,
wow.
This monster has brought me so much unhappiness in my life from one shoot. You may think it's crazy, but it's true. Yeah, and so... Yeah, so like we're talking about a lot of people. Oh my God. Yeah, so the article goes on to list kind of model after model of so our producer is showing us scary pictures of Terry Richardson and so it's not
Do your
good.
Googles.
yeah. So what you don't want to do right now, and I know some of you guys are gonna do it. What you don't want to do is Google Terry Richardson and some of his images.
Do it
because he needs help.
Do it.
And you need help too, because you're like already on Google, and that's not okay.
Do it.
So back to Corey Feldman, man, and this child ring too. Okay, so in a YouTube video that has been viewed more than 600,000 times, Feldman said he is ready to identify at least 6 alleged abusers, including one who remains powerful today. If you aren't familiar with Corey, he had this show with the other Corey, I believe.
Booker?
And it was a reality show. Right, and so there's another one who's used to bending over for power interest. Oh, shots fired. Cory Booker, what's up? Pharma.
You better slow down, man.
Big Pharma.
He's gonna be our next president, man.
Yeah,
and he's
right.
repping Jersey, so you
Yeah,
don't
right.
wanna...
He's gonna be the representative from the great state of Pharma. From the great state of Big Pharma.
Garden State.
Yeah, right. So,
So Haitian.
yeah. So Feldman has publicly spoken out about pedophilia in the past. Oh yeah, but right. So the point I was gonna make is that him and the other Corey, there's that famous clip from the show where they're going back and forth and talking about some of their experiences, and they both allude to the fact that they have both been harassed or molested over the course of the show.
Right.
And so the list of young celebrity child stars who talk about this experience, I mentioned Elijah Wood, who talked about dark and sinister people. And whenever people talk about this, it's always got to be in this hushed, kind of cryptic, kind of I'll tell you but I won't tell you. It was a high-level executive, And so Feldman has publicly spoken out about pedophilia in the past, calling it Hollywood's big secret. He also says that he was molested.
Oh, wow.
In the emotional video, the star of The Goonies, Lost Boys, and Stand By Me said he believes thousands of children have been abused while working in the industry. Now we have the ability to let our voices be heard and break the damn silence, Feldman said. So Feldman said he wants to make a film that would be the most honest and true depiction of child abuse ever portrayed by telling his own story in a very real way with no editing or censorship. He is trying to raise $10 million through an online funding campaign. More than $130,000 has been raised by early Friday. So Feldman says he will direct, produce, and self-distribute the film, which is tough because I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with Feldman, but he's missing a few cards. And so I wouldn't, I don't know. But so I'd prefer it if someone else produced and directed it. But hey, him getting his own raw truth out is also important as well. The money will also help him get the security and the legal team that he needs to protect his family until the project is released. Yeah, buddy. You don't want them CIA Black Ops not listed on the chart, but at your fucking door, ass agents.
Yeah,
You
right.
fucking end up in a black site in Germany somewhere.
No, they just send him to the woods in West Virginia.
Yeah,
Him in
right.
a cave.
Let a Andy Dick handle him.
Or send him to like Area 51. Let him get diddled by aliens.
Jeez. All right. So once it's done, I believe we can revolutionize the film industry. And then the article goes. Yeah. So earlier.
That's a great way to start an article.
Yeah. Right. Right. I forgot. Yeah. James Vanderbeek too.
What'd he do?
Earlier this month, Dawson Creek star James Vanderbeek joined Brooklyn Nine-Nine star Terry Crews as saying they had been victims of sexual misconduct. I
can see that.
I've had my ass grabbed by older, powerful men. I've had them corner me in inappropriate sexual conversations when I was much younger. Jesus Christ.
I'll give you one better. Well,
Yeah.
that's not a great way to
Yeah.
say that. But
Not at all.
Raymond Sessions, when he used to play, there was a scene on YouTube where he's going out for a ball that's going out of bounds, and he almost jumped. He jumped after it, and he leaned over. Like, you clearly, if you're sitting courtside, and it's an expensive seat, right? So he does this, chases the ball, and the people sitting courtside,
Yeah.
especially this one creepy old guy, holds him, pats him in the back, and grabs his cheek.
Jesus Christ.
So it just ties to how the rich and the powerful, or maybe it's not just a rich or powerful thing, but maybe it's just a cultural thing within people who have influence. They feel that they can do whatever they fucking feel like. I mean, it's a crazy thing, and then to see that a grown man, and then how does Raymond Sessions respond? He just walks off and act like it didn't happen. But the cameraman caught this man get a David Copperfield.
Yeah, and
A professional.
and that's the
ball
problem
player.
with power. Again, people just feel like the reason why he walked away is because he felt like, well, I have the power, so what are you gonna do?
He's sitting courtside. He's clearly your boss.
Right.
Older white male. Probably looks like he's in his late 70s.
Yeah. I think it's again what I was talking about earlier. Just like I think one of the things that we can do to help make this a bit easier, a bit better, is to embrace the fact that a person's merit isn't just how much money they have or how attractive they are. What can I get out of this in the immediate future? So and I think this is also really important to talk about the celebrity shenanigans and all that type of stuff, because what I think happens is that jeez, Wofford's playing the clip right now. Yeah, that's so weird.
Pats him in the cheek.
Yeah.
Creepy fucking pop.
Yeah, and yeah. All right, so check the clip out. It's bad.
But then again, there's this female fan that grabs a baseball player.
Yeah, but that's obviously
Sports, and it's pretty
Yeah.
like,
But so I have an article here from Huffington Post. It's from 2015. It's a bit older. It's kind of, but I think it kind of speaks to an interesting subject that ties right into it. 1 in 3 women have been sexually harassed at work. So I think that's another kind of an interesting kind of context we come. A new survey found that 1 in 3 women between the ages of 18 and 34 have been sexually harassed at work.
Sexually attracted.
Yeah. Whoops. Yeah. Have sexually attracted creeps who harass them.
Has been sexually attracted.
Yeah. It's getting late. Okay, the brain is not reading the words in the correct order.
It's the last story.
Yeah, right.
Finish strong.
Yeah. Cosmopolitan surveyed 2,200 full-time and part-time female employees and found that 1 in 3 have experienced sexual harassment at work. Sexual harassment hasn't gone away. It's just taken on new forms, right? So they go on to talk about some other statistics. There are at least some women who don't realize that the behavior they're experiencing at work constitute sexual harassment. That's interesting. 16% of women who said no when asked if they had been sexually harassed at work said yes to experiencing sexually explicit or sexist remarks. So I think another interesting kind of harmonic in this conversation is the fact that I think women have become so used to men being wild and reckless that they don't even realize that how much of the behavior is over the line. Like, do you feel like you're being harassed too much? Is essentially the question. Are you being harassed too much?
Right.
And so 16 of those women are saying no, but they're describing harassment to them, and they're like, well, yeah, that happens. Mm-hmm. So it's like you're being harassed.
You could also have to tie into whether or not if it's probably part of the company's hidden culture. If
Right.
you have like the CEO, smashing the VP, if you have like, all these events going on, people might just assume like, it's just part of the day to day.
Right.
And so that's part of the reason why they might not, recognize it.
Yeah, so it's like, look, 81% of women experience harassment in verbal form. 44 say they've encountered unwanted touching and sexual advances. 25 say they've received lewd texts or emails. So kind of break down some of the harassing here. 75 say they were targeted by male co-workers. 49% say it was harassed by male clients or customers. 38 harassed by male managers. So again, a power dynamic.
It is.
And so again, with all these situations, we're talking about with a coworker, it's not so much of the same power dynamic, but there is an element of, well, we work together, and so let's get along. This is a client, so let's get along. Mm-hmm. This is a customer, so let's get along. So you're kind of forced into a situation where you want
be cordial.
Right. You want it to end as positively as possible. Mm-hmm. And so the fields with the highest levels of reported sexual harassment are 30% legal, 31% arts and entertainment, 31% STEM, 36% retail.
STEM?
Yeah, so science and those. 21 healthcare, 23 education. 71% did not even report it. 29% did report it. But there is one field. Report it. Okay, so one field had the highest number of sexual harassment, and it is the food service and hospitality field. And thankfully, we have a producer who works in that field, right? So how would you say would you confirm the findings in the article? Would you say that the food service has that kind of reputation? Is that founded?
Meanwhile, I'm thinking this. I think in those type of food services that it makes sense that young women be not just young women, but also people who work in that field. I know we're talking about food services, but
we're talking about sexual harassment.
I learned the other day that like bartenders are the new strippers. In a sense where, like, listen,
okay.
I mean, it's with respect.
I think I'm doing it wrong. I think I'm ordering my drinks wrong. And shit.
No, what's happening is that, like, a lot of the people that are going to the, these places where you eat and you sit in a bar, they find the person attractive, whether male or female, and they're, charging more, giving a larger amount of tips with the hope of like seeing that person after work. So you're selling yourself with the opportunity, especially if it's sex, and it's basically older men and older women that are attacking these young millennial.
I guess you could say that. I do kind of see that parallel as well.
Especially in New York City right now, they say like most being a mixologist, pays for your loans real fast.
Yeah, but I guess by that logic, you could say that about almost like any job. Like okay, waitressing is the new, prostitution now because people tip you, So I don't know that I see the for me. I don't know. Now that we're on the subject of prostitution, I'm not even really sure how I feel about, for me, I feel like as long as you're single and happy and healthy and free, you're not bothering anybody. I mean, I don't really give a shit that it's such a such a bad thing. Yeah.
Well, I guess everything is done in moderation. So
right.
So you would imagine that if you're single, of course, and you're healthy, you're getting tested. Go out and have fun and trying to break the ice and learn about yourself and whatever. But I think when you reach a certain age, then you have to okay. Especially when you hit 30, boy. Everything breaks down. Your metabolism slows down.
Oh my god, this guy and his hips. Yeah. So
you get daddy hips.
I think one thing. I think one last kind of fun thing to kind of end this off with is to kind of dispel. Speaking of kind of prostitutes and sex and stuff, one of the common arguments that people sometimes make in terms of this type of stuff in prostitution is they make it an education thing. Oh, well, why don't you get yourself in a career where your mind is valued more than your body? And so sometimes there can be a victim shaming kind of thing. Oh, hey, what did you expect? You work at Hooters or something, right?
I gotta go to Hooters one time.
I've never been to a Hooters.
There's a Hooters right there off of Route 1.
Okay, so shout out
Route
to
18,
Hooters.
Route 18.
Random plug. Yeah. There's a Hooters.
And I've always wanted to go there.
Yeah. So but to kind of get back in alignment, right? So educated women aren't protected from sexual harassment either.
You don't
unfortunately,
say.
Yeah.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah, right.
Fucking pig.
Damn it, man! I thought you were one of the good ones.
Doesn't sound right.
Right. Well, because it's how many celebrities do we have left that we can man? Turns out everyone's a piece of shit. Once you get to know them,
yeah, man.
It's just a matter of time before they're big fucking scandal. Yeah.
I would be heartbroken if I
just like parents. Just a matter of time
before you realize they're imperfect.
Yeah.
If J. Cole,
Kung Fu Kenny.
If J. Cole got caught up in a case like that, I'd be really heartbroken because I think he's one of our heroes and he deserves all types of glory.
I like J. Cole. J. Cole's kind of hit or miss for me.
Yeah.
I feel like you listen to one J. Cole song and it'll be your favorite J. Cole song, and then the next song will come on, you'll be like, huh?
Yeah.
You'll be like, what the fuck am I listening to?
Sorry, Jay.
Yeah, sorry.
I love your album though. It's a great jogging music.
If J. Cole's listening to this, I know he's not. Get a music producer, man, or a music director. Get someone who's gonna watch your project and be there for the whole thing,
right?
And make sure there's a consistent thread through it.
J. Cole, that's a small plug. He's just trying to get you to get his business card.
Yeah.
At Dave Williams.
Right. But all right. So 45% of the people who responded and were sexually harassed have a bachelor's degree. So, and again, 31% on STEM jobs. So, it's not even so. Education or the whole whether or not you deserve it, who does deserve it, and that argument kind of goes out of the window. Any kind of possible defense for any of this kind of behavior goes out the window once you kind of look at it. So 29% have some college education, so be that an associate's, or whatever else the case may be. You have some college education, and 19 even have their graduate kind of degree as well, and they're still kind of running into these same issues. And so I think, it's kind of like, for me, the whole Black Lives Matter issues, where people are upset about protesting.
Yeah.
But when we have sit-ins that upset you, when we protest this way and that way, that upsets you. We protest quietly, and now the problem is the flag. So it's like, at some point you have to kind of realize, okay, it's never really been about the protesting. It's never been about the way that we're protesting. You just don't want to hear us. And so I think it's a similar kind of thing here, where it's so obvious that it's not even really it like, the right and wrong in this is pretty clear. It's just some people just get it and some people don't. And so I think part of the way of us getting there is maybe taking it away from the kind of matriarchy versus patriarchy kind of narrative, and kind of bring it into a power thing. It's a matter of power, and it's a matter of privilege, and checking that privilege like luggage.
I would also like to add too that I think another piece that needs to be addressed is, I guess, people's understanding of, like, sex, right?
Yeah.
So you got these guys that are jerking off, showing
in the McDonald's
for
9 hours.
Oh
my God.
You got
that's a full work shift.
And,
that's overtime.
That's
oh my God.
That was in the documentary.
Mommy Dearest, I think, right?
Mommy Dearest and Dad. HBO has the best documentaries, but
yeah.
I think I would say that people are starting to identify different sexual appetizers, and they know that they can't get away with certain things because it would look awkward, so they just, for some reason, are just going ham with no regard of, like, anybody. So I say all this to say is that, like, when you hear the Hurricane Harveys, in the world, behaving the way they do, he strikes me as a person that probably watches way too much pornography and has lost his mind on where you cross a lot of the line.
I think that's a good point too. Yeah, I think so, especially I think when you kind of tie it to the thing I was saying earlier with, like, a lot of these people are just people who don't feel like they're listened to. So now that they're suddenly important, they, oh shit, I'm a tastemaker now, so I get to do, whatever the fuck I want. And they kind of just kind of bug out from there. What I think is happening is that so it's just like money. You have someone doesn't have money, spend your whole life without money, you suddenly get a record deal or hit the lottery or basketball or football, and you're spending money like crazy because you feel like you have to make up for all that lost time. And so you don't want to buy a nice house, you have to buy the biggest house in the nicest area that you never thought you could afford the house in, and it's got to be big, and it's got to be over the top, and people from 2 miles away have to know how badass you are because you got this amazing fucking crib and all this type of shit. And so sexually, I think Harvey Weinstein did the same thing, or people like him, where you are a weak, small person who's suddenly being told that you're so important and powerful. So now you feel like, no, I don't just want to hook up with a model, I want to have a foursome with 3 female models and a fluffer, who's fucking, rubbing me off in between rounds, and I want just this fucking crazy over the top shit. And so I think that getting too used to that and getting kind of consumed in that can be kind of an obsession, and so I think that's part of what's going on with this dude. It's just this obsession with this power and this feeling, and you get so caught up in it. And I think that you get to the point where you don't even give a shit about how the people around you are perceiving you and what you're doing to the people around you. That's dangerous shit, man. That's a dangerous point to kind of get to. And again, I think us addressing power and the way we deal with power dynamics is going to be what we need to do to get there.
Yeah.
To get to a better place.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. We live in the best times. I had the opportunity to watch CNN's The 90s and this weekend, and I really have to give much love and respect to AOL, even though they're no longer with us. They were they're really the first social media website with AIM, right?
Oh, true.
So because of that, we're able to have conversations with a group of people with like-minded thoughts, whether it's pro or con thoughts, right? However, but we're addressing these things, and we're building communities to fight these old rules and creating new rules. So I think if we continue to stay in that path where we're challenging power, and we're using these mobile devices, and then we're using these social media platforms to have that conversation to eventually change the culture of the business, it's a great start. I'm very confident that, like, my niece and my daughter and then
as a parent,
right? I'm very confident that even my nephew, right, is going to be in a situation where he's not going to have to worry about meeting like a person who met Terry Crews,
right?
Or my daughter meeting like a Louis C.K. type
or
of
if
character.
it does happen, hopefully in the future, people of the next generation won't be so scared or nervous about speaking out. I think that's part of what's changing about the new dynamic too, is that you're seeing all these people come out because the climate is, it's okay for you to come out. Before you came out and the story got crushed and squashed and your career would get shut down, but the other person would be allowed to go on and do whatever.
Right.
Yeah. So I think it's such an important part.
I'm confident on Generation Z. They're going to handle it down. You guys are really doing well. I'm trusting that you guys won't drop the ball.
Yeah.
As I look like a Generation Z child right now.
Generation Zeta. Yeah. Please do better than we did, than your daddy done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So with that, we'd like to wrap up our conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
Episode 7 is clear.
Yes.
So hopefully, we hope that this was the last time we heard about a celebrity copying a feel.
Yeah. Copper feeling.
Whether they're celebrities, former presidents of these United States, or professional athletes, no means no.
Yo, former president's prenup game must be pretty crazy.
His wife looks like 40 years older than him.
Yo, bro, you just sexually harassed another young woman in front of your wife in public, and she didn't pull a divorce card?
She can't.
Like who in America wouldn't support her and be like, yeah, what an asshole. Like that
you know why?
I'm not sure what the wording in the prenup is, but it must be fucking something fierce.
You know what it is?
It must be some fucking shit.
It's that old timers mentality.
Oh, for sure.
We assume that because grandma and grandpa married for 50 years that they had a happy marriage. Right. So what happens is that they just, she, even though it's 2017, to her it's probably 1917, and she doesn't believe that she could leave the ranch.
Yeah.
So she stays in, and plus, who's gonna get a divorce? Who's really gonna smash like a gift, like a 99-year-old woman?
Okay. Wait. So did you just call former first lady? You call her gilf? Is that what just happened? You just called her gilf?
I'm tired.
Really? God damn.
I'm tired. Episode 7.
Yeah, right.
Check us out. Check us out.
No, that's staying in.
No,
that's staying in. Yeah.
Oh God.
Damn.
Catch us on SoundCloud. Catch us on Snapchat. We're on Twitter. We're on IG at MXE Podcast. So thanks again for kicking out. Kicking the door, waving the full.
So send your favorite GILF gift to Wofford
at Wally Wall Street.
Yes.
Is my IG.
# GILF gift.
Hashtag MXE podcast. Gang, gang.
Yeah. Hashtag mature. All right, so thank you guys. See you next week.
See you next week with our special illustrious guest. And thank you to our producer for dropping some signs on why women are mad at us. So, guys, stay woke. Don't joke. No means no.